And we've got some updated Night Elf Heritage armor stuff, where I think it's quite small, but basically the female one has been updated, removing the shoulder strap, which makes it look more like, of course, the the original Night Elf.
Yeah, so you'll see this strap bit here is now gone, which does look a lot better. Just because that seems a little bit like, I mean, it'd be nice if it was an option, I guess.
Yeah, actually, I like it, but an option would be good.
Just
so
it's properly like, hey, here's a little bit close to what you've seen before.
Yeah.
Also, man, that blue looks so nice.
I'm definitely going to be doing this. Now, there's an interesting thing though. So they've recently been using Heritage Armor quests to sort of help reestablish the races of Azeroth. You know, Human was doing that, giving some world building to like the nobles in Stormwind, the situation of the Breadbasket Guild. Of course, Orcish culture now reestablished on Kalimdor, which was really cool to see. So I imagine then, of course, with the Forsaken one having its Sylvanas data mining, likely then being something to do with maybe different factions in the Forsaken and then working out just who the f are we anymore. So all this Night Elf stuff, it's clearly got to engage with how they're screwed. Because, like, as a people, they're still refugees in Stormwind. You know, like, Darkshore is completely screwed. Not exactly sure on the status of Ashenvale per the books, but anyway, they're like...
Not good as far as I'm aware.
So their ancestral lands are all screwed. They're in Stormwind. There's a new tree happening. I think a lot of players don't want to see the Night Elves just all exist around the new tree. And that was one of the things, right? Because people knew that Night Elves, Elune, all these things would probably happen in 10.2. But we also thought, okay, but it's only going to happen in the Dragon Isles. Is that going to mean the Night Elves all get relocated to the Dragon Isles? Whereas if they have a Heritage Armor quest, maybe that indicates that some things are going on back in the old world. Because that's the typical thing that happens with the Heritage Armor quest. Which I suppose for not all of your worries, because I'm sure there's many, for some of your worries, maybe they'll be a bit better.
I definitely most of my concerns are actually from the fact that the Dragonflight quest will be about the tree and is inherently about the Night Elf Heritage Armor, and the Heritage quest will come first, which means they haven't needled the thread in terms of the Heritage Armor quest doing everything it needs to, and then the 10.2 quest also being about that. Because if they go, oh, the Night Elf Heritage quest, the Night Elves are all fixed and happy and good, and we've done everything perfectly, and then the 10.2 is, there's a new world tree, by the way, and no Night Elf has ever commented on it ever again, that would be bullshit. But there is an interesting thing you said there about it usually being in the old world, and that's me going, that's actually a very astute point for one reason. What level do you have to be to do Heritage quests, Michael?
50?
Level 50. You know what you cannot do at level 50? Go to the Dragon Isles, fly about.
Oh, yeah.
Which means if they are doing that, they would have to be very careful to make sure to do it instanced. But they can't do stuff in the Dragon Isles unless of course, like I said, it's like a scenario or instanced. And they can't do anything with the tree because the tree's not in the game yet. Because the tree won't be in the game till 10.2. Because if the tree's in the game in 10.17, it'll be data mined everywhere. So it's clearly not going to be about that. So it is going to be about the stuff in the past. So it's that needle of, can they go, hey, you've retaken, or not retaken, you've like retaken some of Ashenvale, you've cleansed Fellwood a little bit, Moonglade's been tidied up, and you've kind of got like a new settlement in and around, you're in and around Hydrol and Moonglade and that area, and there's a nice link between them, and it's all good. Maybe even a little settlement in Winterspring or something along those lines that feels proper. Especially because you could set them in Winterspring and then write some trite about, the Night Elves have accepted winter as part of the natural cycle, so they live in Winterspring now. And even that would be like kind of okay, I think. People are like, that's sweet. So like they can do that fine. Maybe even deal with like people are mentioning Dire Maul and like the history of the Highborn and Night Elf stuff around that. That would be cool, but there is that massive problem of, will whoever's doing the Night Elf quest be able to not have their work shot into the sun by the existence of 10.2? Because my thing so far has been the wider storytelling of the expansion patches has been ass compared to the Heritage quests and the side quests and stuff like that. Because obviously they have easier jobs to do.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I'm worried about that torpedoing it. Where it's like, hello, the Night Elves are happy, but Malfurion's still dead for some reason. But not dead because he's asleep in Ardenweald, which means he's dead, but not dead. Is he dead? Who knows?
That's the most awkward. Oh yeah, I suppose we'll probably see some Malfurion. Yeah, almost definitely.
I
You'd
would hope so.
Yeah.
This is where we get into the bother of, all right, well, 10-2, does 10-2 have enough time to give us enough Farak, have us deal with Farak, give us enough Virnoff, deal with Virnoff in whatever capacity we need to?
Oh, they have so much to cover.
Can we have Tyrande do anything or say anything? Can we have the train what it means to Night Elves? Can we have Malfurion either back or doing something interesting in Ardenweald instead of literally sleeping? Because that's perfect. He hasn't spent the last 10,000 years sleeping to wake up for like 20 years and go back to fucking sleep. It's so
do you know what it is, right? It's the bingo. If you think about, like, you know, construct the fan bingo of all the things people want to have happen in this patch, in this patch's story. Oh, they have a needle to thread here, don't they?
And that's exactly why I'm like concerned, even though like I completely expect that the Night Elf Heritage Quest will be a fantastic experience, and you'll get amazing armor for doing it. It'll be wonderful. It'll be like everything I think people would want from a Heritage Quest. It's just not going to be enough for everything people want from a Night Elf story, because that goes further.
But what if it is more the situation that, we have our, like, Tyrande, Malfurion, Elune, big characters happening at the tree. But then the story of, what about all the people? All the Night Elf people? What if that's the thing that's in the quest? Because I think ultimately...
Well, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
I'm fully expecting
and
that.
that's good. Because I think more of what we wanted is Night Elves to exist without those, like, big, larger-than-life characters, because as time went on, they just ate up all of the space, and it then just became the Tyrande show of, like, let's take Tyrande through the same character arc twice and waste a whole bunch of time. So, the more that I think about it, the more I'm hopeful.
A little bit.
Yeah.
The thing that's getting me is the thematic stuff, where obviously a murder soul is going to be super important to the Night Elves. Will they be able to do that correctly? And this is, we're getting into like, we're getting into like meta think and meta talk about how and when the quests are written and constructed. Because as far as we know about how this game is literally written, the major narrative beats will be locked in well ahead, because you need your cinematics, you need your setup for your stuff. Maybe you can scramble and fix some stuff and change some stuff, but with all the like voice and stuff you need, all the like work you need from the cinematics team, you have to have that set in stone. Heritage quests, less so, because there's obviously voices in them, but a lot of it is also like written, and a lot of the details are written. I expect that the Night Elf Heritage is finished long after the Mirror Soul stuff was finished and 10.2 stuff was finished, or at least around the time the major bullet points written. So they maybe have to go, okay, well we have to like what's the term? Like gymnastic contortionist our story to fit into the wider beats, which might end up like hamstringing it in certain ways. But obviously I could literally sit and complain here all day. And ultimately, I'm going to enjoy the Heritage Quest, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I'll enjoy the Heritage Quest and then get pissed at 10.2, which is going to happen no matter what anyway. So.
I suppose, right, here's what's at stake. If they do this right, and it's a big if, one of the biggest ifs, but if they do it right, then obviously Teldrassil can't be undone, but, and, it's not like we're all going to get over it, but if they can do this, I think... at least it could be as good as it could possibly be without somehow winding the clock back, right? Yeah. So they could actually go a long way to fixing up a lot of that. They could go a long way to doing the dream and all of that stuff justice. This is one of those patches, like, yeah, a lot rides on it, but that does cut both ways. So that they could, let down everyone's expectations in Night Elves. They could also repair the situation as best they can. And if I think about, like, what are the boxes that I think I would have to see be ticked in a timeline where World of Warcraft is truly, like, on the good track, yeah, it's probably the one where they tick that box. So,
yep, indeed.
Who knows? I think there's potentially room to be happy enough.